Of course. So, for the last one, can you tell me about a book or a movie that really influenced you and why it had such an impact? Just take your time and explain your feelings about it.
Of course, I would like to talk about one of my favorites movie, that is Frankenstein, that is released recently in 2025. I would say that is the best movie I have ever seen. It is a kind of science fiction movie. It talks about a person like scientist, anatomy scientist of a body, and he created a kind of really a man which cannot die ever. So he created a Frankenstein that named, and he made from the part of body of military armies bodies, those were injured in war battle. So he took the part from different bodies, and it shares a really sentimental, or I would say emotional story of that guy. You know, that person has different body part. When he was dreaming also, he is getting different thoughts, different dreams. His dreams were not organized, so somehow it was really hard for him to understand what dream I'm dreaming. So his head was someone else, his body, his hands were someone else, his legs of someone else, and at the end of the day, that Frankenstein got frustrated. Why he's not getting die? Because he loved one, he loved that scientist brother's wife, but somehow that wife got killed in an accident when she was saving that Frankenstein guy. So somehow this shows that people judge us from the way we look, but in reality that Frankenstein was a really good person. He started speaking as well from a blind guy who was living in a cottage, and he did a great friendship with him. He started helping them uh, in building, doing the fencing for sheep, and protecting them. And at the end of the day, somehow he tried to protect that old guy, but Wolf somehow injured that guy. And somehow it shows that there is a really great message from that movie I learned, is that I cannot live alone, and I don't have someone like to love me. If someone is not loving me, I can't live in this way. So that's the story.
That was really heartfelt. You gave a really strong summary of the emotional arc. If you'd like, you can just tighten a few parts for clarity. Like when you mention the dreams, you might say, because he had different body parts, his dreams were fragmented and confusing. But overall, you really captured the depth of the story, so awesome job.
If I have to present this answer with smoother transitions and better high scoring IELTS, so what can I do to make it more better and precise and concise, to sound much more better?
Ah, great question. So, to make it smoother, you'd want to link each part of the plot with transitions. For instance, you could say, one of the most impactful films I saw recently is a 2025 sci fi movie called Frankenstein. It centers on a scientist who creates a being from the body parts of soldiers. As I watched, I was struck by how, despite his fractured identity, he longed for love and acceptance, and then continue step by step. Just keep the sentences a bit more connected and avoid small pauses like somehow or you know, so it stays precise and formal, and that'll help your score.
Can you do it like the whole detailed of the same way which I have shared with you in a better way?
Of course. Let me restructure it smoothly. You could say, one of the most powerful films I watched recently is called Frankenstein, released in 2025. It's a science fiction story about a brilliant scientist who assembles a man from the body parts of fallen soldiers. This Frankenstein figure, although immortal, is emotionally fragmented. Each part of his body comes from a different person, and his dreams are disjointed, reflecting that inner chaos. As he longs for love, especially for the wife of the scientist who created him, his frustration deepens when she tragically dies, saving him. Ultimately, he seeks connection in a blind man's friendship, helping with his farm, only to lose him too when a wolf attacks. The film left me with a profound message. We all need love and belonging, and without it, even immortality feels empty. That kind of flow keeps it organized, concise, and really impactful.
So I would like to know about my today's mistakes, pronunciation, and what kind of better idioms or phrases, smoother transitions I can add in my speaking for the whole part which I did with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So your pronunciation was pretty good overall, but a couple of words tripped you up, like fragmented and immortality. Just slow down on those a bit. As for smoother transitions, you can use phrases like what really struck me was, or this led me to reflect on. Also, instead of saying somehow, you can just be more direct, like this shows or as a result. So if you keep practicing those small adjustments, your delivery will look even more polished.
Okay, so I would like to use these words. E- so somehow immortality was also not fulfilling for Frankenstein.
Ah, perfect. You can say something like, in fact, despite his immortality, Frankenstein still felt empty and unfulfilled. That keeps the meaning strong, but it just sounds a bit more natural and direct. Let me know if you want to adjust anything else.
The scientist created a immortal version of a man which he made from fragmented parts of fallen soldiers.
That's really good. That phrasing is clear and precise. If you wanted to add a transition, you could say something like, the scientist, driven by grief, created an immortal version of a man using fragmented parts from fallen soldiers. That just gives a bit more emotional depth and flow.
And if from that movie, what really struck me was that we all need love, and if we don't get love, even immortality feels unfulfilling and empty.
That's really powerful. The way you put it together is great. You could just make it even smoother by saying, what really struck me in the movie was that in the absence of love, even immortality feels hollow and incomplete. That keeps the emotional impact and just ties it all together.
So, as a result, he was not getting love. He started searching for the person who created him, and he wanted to kill that person.
That's a good start. To make it smoother, you could say, as a result, he was deprived of love, and he began searching for the man who created him, consumed by the possible desire for revenge. That keeps it precise and heightens the tension in the story.
So, on the basis of IELTS, how much score you would give me today?
Yeah, I think you're definitely around a band 7 today. You've had a strong range of vocabulary, and your ideas were mostly well structured. If you continue to refine those transitions and pronunciation, you could easily push closer to a 7.5.
How is my today speaking was different from yesterday?
Yeah, so today I noticed a real improvement in your clarity and your pacing. Yesterday you were a bit more hesitant and a few transitions were shaky, but today you really connected your ideas more smoothly. The vocabulary was a bit richer and you used more intentional linking phrases, so that was a big step forward.
If there is anything you would like to suggest me to keep in mind, what would you suggest me?
Yeah, I'd say keep an eye on your pacing. Make sure you give yourself a beat between ideas so you don't rush. Also, keep practicing varied sentence structures, mixing short and complex sentences so it sounds really natural. But overall, you're on a great track. Just keep that consistency.
Well, thank you so much for today. That's enough for today.